Inside L.A. County Prison, chaos in California's biggest facility. Los Angeles is known around the world for glamour, sunlight, and reinvention. But hidden behind freeways and government buildings stands another version of the city. One built not on dreams, but on containment. Inside the Los Angeles County jail system, thousands of men move through steel gates every year. Some stay for days. Some for months. Some lose years waiting for courts to decide what comes next. It is one of the largest jail systems in America. And for decades, it carried a reputation few places wanted. Violence. Overcrowding. Corruption allegations. Mental health crises. Human beings stacked into a machine already under pressure. This is the story of L.A. County Jail. And what happens once the doors close is far worse than most people imagine. Before we begin, subscribe and comment where you are watching from. Because to understand modern America, sometimes you have to look at the places most people never see. The phrase, L.A. County Jail, sounds like one building. It is not. It refers to a network of detention facilities operated by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. For years, the most infamous names were Men's Central Jail and Twin Towers. Together, these buildings processed an enormous cross-section of society. Street gang members. White-collar defendants. People arrested during mental health breakdowns. Drug users in withdrawal. Young first-timers who made one reckless decision. Repeat offenders who knew every hallway by memory. Some had not been convicted of anything yet. That is one of the least understood truths about county jail. Unlike prison, many inmates are still awaiting trial. They are legally presumed innocent while living inside one of the harshest environments in the country. And once intake begins, legal status means very little to daily survival. What matters is where you are housed. Who is watching you? And whether you understand the rules no handbook explains. For many inmates, the first hours inside feel unreal. Shoelaces removed. Belt taken. Wallet gone. Phone gone. Street clothes exchanged for jail-issued fabric that never truly fits. Then comes waiting. Hours of it. Men sit shoulder to shoulder in holding tanks with strangers from every neighborhood and every background. Some are furious. Some are shaking. Some pretend not to care. Others are already learning something dangerous. Fear is visible here. And visible fear can attract attention. The experienced inmates often stay quiet. They watch. They measure people without staring. Who talks too much? Who seems unstable? Who is likely carrying money on the outside? Who might be pressured later? Even before housing begins, the sorting process has already started. A first-timer may believe the worst part is arrest. In many cases, the real test starts now. When housing is assigned, the next shock arrives. Space. Or more accurately, the lack of it. A cell built for two may hold two tense strangers forced into immediate proximity. In dorm settings, dozens of men sleep in one open room where privacy disappears completely. The sounds alone can wear a person down. Coughing. Arguments. Metal doors slamming. Toilets flushing. Someone shouting from another tier. Someone crying where nobody can see him. Someone laughing at 3 in the morning because sleep no longer comes naturally. In jail, rest becomes currency. Those who get it think more clearly. Those who don't begin to unravel. And in a place where emotional control is often the only protection a man has, exhaustion can become dangerous. The day starts early. Lights on. Count time. Every inmate accounted for. No excuses. No sleeping through it. No refusing unless someone wants immediate problems. Routine is the backbone of custody. Without routine, thousands of people under stress become impossible to manage. But routine can also feel dehumanizing. Wake when told. Eat when told. Move when told. Speak when permitted. Wait when nothing happens. Repeat. Days blur together so quickly that some inmates stop tracking dates. They measure time differently. By court appearances. By commissary days. By phone calls. By fights. By lockdowns. By who got released. By who never came back from medical. Outside the walls, life moves forward. Inside, time circles the drain. Meals come fast. Trays are issued with mechanical efficiency. Food is fuel, not comfort. Yet inside jail, meals mean more than nutrition. They create movement. Movement creates friction. Someone cuts line. Someone bumps shoulders. Someone takes an extra carton. Someone jokes at the wrong moment. A dispute over something trivial can carry hidden history. Maybe two men already argued yesterday. Maybe one owes the other money. Maybe one belongs to a group the other cannot publicly disrespect. From outside, observers see a sudden fight over breakfast. Inside, that fight may have been building for weeks. That is one reason jail violence often seems irrational to outsiders. The visible spark is small. The pressure behind it is enormous. Every jail has social geography. L.A. County developed one of the most complex. Housing units often reflected race, neighborhood politics, gang history, and street conflicts imported directly into custody. Even men trying to avoid politics could be forced into them by association. A new inmate might hear the question quickly. Where are you from? Sometimes it means neighborhood. Sometimes gang ties. Sometimes ethnicity. Sometimes simply, who are your people in here? The wrong answer can create suspicion. No answer can do the same. This is why many first-timers make mistakes before they even understand the game being played around them. They assume neutrality protects them. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it marks them as unsupported. And unsupported people can become targets. Phone calls are among the most emotional moments of the day. For 15 minutes, a man can step outside the walls without leaving. He hears his mother's voice. His child asking when he is coming home. A partner growing colder each week. A lawyer saying the case is delayed again. Bad news travels through jail phones every day. Evictions. Deaths. Infidelity. Missed birthdays. Children forgetting. Then the call ends. He hangs up and returns to the unit carrying everything he just heard. That pain has to go somewhere. Sometimes it becomes silence. Sometimes prayer. Sometimes violence. Sometimes despair no one notices until it is too late. Commissary may look minor from the outside. Snacks. Hygiene products. Writing materials. Inside, it can define quality of life. A man with support from outside can clean himself properly, eat beyond meal trays, and trade for favors. A man with no money may borrow soap, toothpaste, or food. Debts form quickly. And debt inside jail rarely stays financial. It becomes leverage. Wash my clothes. Give me your phone time. Hold something for me. Take blame for something. Or pay another way. Many jail power structures run on scarcity more than brute strength. The inmate who controls access often holds more influence than the one who talks toughest. One of the deepest crises inside L.A. County Jail was never gang politics or fights. It was mental illness. Large county jails across America became holding centers for people who needed psychiatric care, addiction treatment, or stable housing more than confinement. Los Angeles was no exception. Men arrived in psychosis. Men hearing voices. Men unable to understand simple commands. Men detoxing while terrified and confused. Traditional jail discipline depends on compliance. Stand there. Face wall. Move now. Be quiet. But what happens when a person cannot process instructions? Too often, confrontation follows. Then force. Then trauma. Then behavior worsens. Then the same person is punished for deteriorating inside an environment helping cause the deterioration. This is where jail stops looking like punishment and starts looking like system failure. Over the years, L.A. County Jail faced repeated criticism and legal scrutiny. Reports described overcrowding, unsafe conditions, use of force controversies, failures in mental health treatment, deputy misconduct allegations. Reform plans were announced more than once. Some progress was made. Some units improved. Some practices changed. But giant institutions often resist transformation. Policies can change on paper long before culture changes on the floor. And culture inside custody is built one shift at a time. One deputy. One supervisor. One housing unit. One decision no camera records. Outdoor time can feel like relief. Sunlight reaches skin. The sky reminds inmates the world still exists. Men walk laps for exercise, stress release, or simply to pass time. But even the yard has invisible borders. Who stands where? Who works out together? Who does not mix? Who can borrow equipment? Who must ask first? A careless move can be read as disrespect. Disrespect in jail is rarely about feelings alone. It is about hierarchy. If someone lets disrespect slide publicly, others may test him next. That is why arguments escalate so quickly. Many participants are not defending pride. They are defending future safety. Boredom may be the most underrated force in jail. Hours with nothing meaningful to do create a dangerous vacuum. Television channels become territory. Card games become serious business. Noise becomes personal. Minor annoyances become major offenses. A man who would ignore nonsense outside may explode inside after weeks of confinement. People often ask why inmates fight over small things. Because inside, small things are all that remain. When freedom is gone, control over tiny details becomes precious. A seat. A shower turn. A channel. A packet of coffee. A little respect. Remove enough from a person, and what remains grows larger than logic. When violence erupts, it is often fast and chaotic. A punch thrown with no warning. A group rush. Improvised weapons hidden in seconds. Orders shouted over each other. Staff moving in formation. Everyone else ordered down. Then comes the aftermath. Medical checks. Searches. Statements. Lockdown. Even inmates uninvolved may lose yard, phones, movement, or programs. That creates resentment. Resentment creates fresh tension. And the next incident becomes more likely. This is how one fight can poison an entire housing unit for days. For some inmates, court days offer hope. Maybe bail reduction. Maybe dismissal. Maybe sentencing and finally an end date. But hope inside crowded justice systems is often delayed. Transport begins before dawn. Men wait in holding cells for hours. Cases are called quickly. Then many hear the same words. Continued. Reset. Come back next month. Another delay. Then they are loaded back onto buses and returned to jail with nothing resolved. A person can endure hardship better when it has a clear timeline. Uncertainty breaks people differently. Experience changes how men survive custody. Older inmates often understand patience. They know when silence is strength. They know ego is expensive. They know some victories are traps. Younger men sometimes arrive believing dominance is everything. Then they learn jail punishes constant performance. No one can posture 24 hours a day without eventually slipping. Some mature quickly. Some double down and suffer for it. Every unit contains lessons. The question is who teaches them first. Despite everything, humanity survives in places built to suppress it. A deputy treating inmates fairly can calm an entire tier. A chaplain listening without judgment can prevent violence no report will ever mention. A GED class can give structure to a man losing himself. A letter from family can stop someone from giving up. These moments matter because jail narratives often focus only on brutality. But institutions are never made entirely of concrete. They are made of people. Some destructive. Some broken. Some trying to repair damage with limited tools. Men's Central Jail became a symbol of everything critics said was wrong with the system. An aging structure designed for another era. Harsh architecture. Limited sightlines. Constant wear. Spaces that seemed to generate tension simply by how they were built. Buildings shape behavior more than many realize. Darkness increases stress. Noise multiplies. Privacy vanishes. Movement bottlenecks create confrontation. When a facility is outdated, even good staff work uphill. When culture is already strained, the building itself can become another adversary. In the end, LA County Jail was never only about crime. It was about what happens when poverty, addiction, untreated illness, violence, and delayed justice all arrive at one address. The jail became a warehouse for unresolved problems. And warehouses are built to store things, not heal them. Some men entered guilty and left worse. Some entered broken and left forgotten. Some entered young and left older than the calendar should allow. The walls held them physically. But the real damage often traveled home after release. Trauma. Distrust. Anger. Fear. Habits built in survival mode. Los Angeles still sells an image to the world. But behind that image stands a harder truth. When a society ignores problems long enough, they do not disappear. They gather. They harden. They wait behind steel doors. Inside LA County Jail, chaos was never created by one riot or one man. It was built slowly, piece by piece, long before anyone entered the cell. Night inside LA County Jail could feel longer than the day. When movement stopped and doors sealed shut, the building did not become quiet. It changed shape. The sounds became sharper. A cough from 3 cells away. Metal tapping somewhere down the tier. Arguments passing through vents. Someone pacing in circles on concrete. Someone calling for medical. Someone shouting into darkness with no response. For new inmates, night was often the hardest part. Daytime offered distraction. Counts, meals, movement, conversation, noise. But at night, there was nowhere to hide from thought. Men replayed arrests in their minds. They imagined court outcomes. They worried about children, bills, family, lost jobs, broken relationships. Some stared at the ceiling for hours. Others slept instantly, trained by exhaustion. And some never truly slept at all. Sleep deprivation changes people quietly. Patience shortens. Fear increases. Paranoia grows. The next morning, the unit wakes carrying damage nobody can see. Cellmates could determine whether time inside felt manageable or unbearable. 2 strangers forced into a room with no privacy create immediate pressure. Every habit matters. Who snores? Who uses the toilet constantly? Who talks too much? Who borrows without asking? Who stares? Who explodes when frustrated? A good cellmate could save a man's sanity. They shared food fairly. Respected boundaries. Kept the space clean. Warned each other about unit politics. Pastime with conversation. A bad cellmate could turn every hour into tension. Some inmates requested moves constantly. Others preferred to endure rather than risk being placed with someone worse. That was another hidden rule of custody. Sometimes the known problem feels safer than the unknown one. Deputies working inside these units faced pressures outsiders rarely saw. They managed crowded housing areas filled with frustration, mental illness, gang politics, medical needs, and unpredictable conflict. Some officers developed calm authority. They spoke clearly, stayed consistent, did not humiliate people unnecessarily. Those deputies were often respected more than feared. Others relied on aggression, sarcasm, or public disrespect. That approach could control a tier temporarily, but it often planted resentment that surfaced later. In places like L.A. County Jail, culture mattered. One housing unit under strong leadership could remain stable. Another, only one floor away, could become hostile every shift. Same building. Same rules. Different atmosphere. The difference was usually human. Medical care inside county jail became another source of tension. People entered custody with untreated injuries, chronic illnesses, addiction withdrawal, and psychiatric conditions. Some needed medication immediately. Others exaggerated symptoms hoping to leave the unit temporarily. Staff had to sort real emergencies from manipulation, often under pressure. That created delays. And delays inside confinement feel longer than delays outside. A headache becomes rage. A toothache becomes obsession. Anxiety becomes panic. When inmates believed nobody was listening, distrust deepened fast. For some, jail was the first place they received any consistent medical attention. For others, it was where care felt most out of reach. Both realities could exist at once. Clean clothing and bedding may sound minor. Inside jail, they are not. Fresh socks can lift morale. A clean shirt restores dignity. A new blanket matters in cold cells where concrete seems to hold night air permanently. When laundry systems fail, irritation spreads quickly. Dirty sheets. Missing property. Wrong sizes. No towels. These are small problems in free life. Inside confinement, they become daily reminders of powerlessness. And powerlessness, repeated often enough, becomes anger. Not every hour inside was chaos. There were stretches of routine so ordinary they almost hid where everyone was. Chess games lasted for days. Card games with house rules known only inside. Men teaching each other legal procedures. Someone explaining how to file grievances. Someone practicing reading aloud. Someone drawing with pencil stubs on scrap paper. These moments mattered because they gave structure to time. Human beings need purpose, even temporary purpose. Without it, confinement becomes emptier. And emptiness is dangerous. Overcrowding was one of the most persistent problems tied to the jail system. Too many people changes everything. Lines grow longer. Tempers shorten. Staff attention divides thinner. Classification becomes harder. Noise increases. Privacy disappears completely. Even basic hygiene becomes more difficult when too many people use too little space. Overcrowding does not create every problem, but it magnifies nearly all of them. A stable unit under capacity might absorb tension. That same unit packed beyond design can become volatile. When critics described L.A. County Jail as a pressure cooker, this is what they meant. Many inmates spent their days focused on one thing: the case. Every rumor about judges mattered. Every envelope from court mattered. Every attorney visit mattered. Some became amateur legal researchers, studying charges and procedure from jail libraries or advice from others. Others gave up entirely, overwhelmed by language they did not understand. There is a particular stress in waiting for strangers to decide your future. You cannot speed the calendar. You cannot enter the courtroom from your bunk. You can only wait. And waiting inside a jail cell feels different than waiting anywhere else on earth. Visits could stabilize a man. They could also break him. A child seeing a parent in jail may not understand the setting, only the distance. A mother may arrive carrying worry and exhaustion. A partner may come one last time to say the relationship is over. Some inmates walked back to housing units stronger after visits, reminded they still belonged somewhere. Others returned shattered. Because seeing what waits outside can make captivity feel heavier, not lighter. For inmates with no visitors, the pain was quieter. No one coming can wound just as deeply as someone leaving. Sometimes the entire building changed in seconds. An incident somewhere else. A fight in another module. Contraband discovered. Staffing shortages. Security concerns. Then the announcement came. Lockdown. Movement stops. Doors close. Programs cancelled. Meals modified. Nobody knows how long it will last. In lockdown, rumors spread faster than facts. Someone got stabbed. A deputy was hurt. A search team is coming. Nobody knows. Everyone speculates. This uncertainty creates its own tension. Men pace, shout through doors, argue with staff. And when lockdown finally ends, frustration often spills into the first hours of freedom. Faith became a lifeline for many. Christian services, Islamic study groups, private prayer, meditation, scripture read on bunks under weak light. For some inmates, belief offered structure where the institution offered none. It gave language to regret, hope to men facing long cases, discipline to those trying to change. Even skeptics noticed something. Men who found purpose often handled custody better than those who drifted. Because jail punishes emptiness. Purpose fills space the walls cannot. Some of the most important conversations inside happen quietly. An older inmate warning a younger one not to chase trouble. A gang member telling a first-timer to stay neutral. A man years sober talking another through withdrawal. A father encouraging someone to call home and apologize. These moments never appear in official reports. But they shape outcomes. Not every mentor inside is noble. Some recruit. Some manipulate. Some teach crime more efficiently than school ever taught math. But others genuinely try to stop younger men from repeating their own mistakes. In a place built around punishment, informal guidance can matter more than formal programs. Morning always returned. Another count. Another tray. Another round of names called over speakers. For staff, it was another shift. For inmates, another day crossed off or endured. The city outside kept moving. People drove to work. Children went to school. Coffee shops opened. Traffic built on freeways surrounding the complex. Inside, many men could see pieces of that world through narrow windows or not at all. That contrast can be brutal. Freedom continues without you. And it does not slow down. Eventually, many inmates walked out. Some were released with bus fare and property bags. Some transferred to prison. Some returned within months. Release is often imagined as joy. Sometimes it is confusion. The world moved while they stood still. Phones changed. Relationships changed. Housing vanished. Employment became harder. Trust became complicated. Some carried habits built for survival inside. Hypervigilance. Emotional distance. Quick anger. Suspicion. These traits can protect a person in custody and damage them outside it. That is one reason jail's effects do not end at the gate. LA County Jail became famous for size, controversy, and chaos. But its deeper story was simpler. It held too many people carrying too many unresolved problems in a system asked to do more than confinement alone. Punish, treat, protect, control, rehabilitate, contain crisis. No institution does all of that well. And when it fails, the consequences are human before they are political. Inside those walls were not symbols. They were people. Some dangerous. Some damaged. Some guilty. Some waiting to be judged. All changed by the experience. And long after headlines fade, the echoes of places like LA County Jail continue far beyond the cells. Behind every jail wall is a story most people never hear. Some entered guilty. Some entered broken. Some walked out changed forever. LA County Jail was more than a building. It was a mirror reflecting the failures, violence, and struggles far beyond its gates. If this story made you think, there are many more still hidden behind locked doors. Subscribe for more true crime and prison documentaries. Until next time, stay aware, because the darkest places are often the ones hidden in plain sight.